department. We have a city manager whose responsibility is to also the safety and welfare of the community. And he has the ability to determine who will be in the police chief position at any given time. And the chief understands that. And it will be up to the city manager. But I am calling for it to be an agenda item. If it can't be done tonight on an urgent matter that I feel is important, when it comes back, we can talk about it again. But it is something, and I don't mean to do harm to any individuals, but there are concerns that go beyond the little technicalities that you're talking about. We're not discharging anybody. We're not trying anyone. We're not accusing anyone of anything. Just like the other officers and other people have been put on administrative leave. Think about it. Think about the stress. And one final thing for Councilmember Golonsky. Just please don't tell me that I'm grandstanding. I'm not even feeling well this evening. I didn't even want to come tonight. I was so sick. And it wasn't just due to a cold. But I'm here hoping to persuade the members of the council to do what I feel is important. That's all I have to say. I hope to see it back in the agenda as soon as possible.
Mr. Golonsky.
Thank you, Dr. Gordon. Just to respond to you, it's obvious to me that you are grandstanding, because if you were serious...
All right, I'm going to ask everyone, please. There is a process here, and we're going to allow the council people to speak.
Because if you were serious about this, you would have brought it forth onto the agenda, and you would have let other people know about it. The reason why you can't just put something on the agenda at the 12th hour at a meeting is a lot of people don't know about it. I suspect that there's a fair number of people who may have knew that you were going to do this, but you didn't share it with our community, you didn't share it with your colleagues, you didn't share it with any of us. And the reason why there's a prohibition on adding things to an agenda absent a true emergency is because people don't understand that that item is going to be discussed by the city council. That's how our process works. And I'm sorry, I see this as an attempt to subvert that process. I understand that there's people in the audience who may feel that that's the right thing to do. I don't. I'm not opposed to putting anybody on administrative leave if there's some credible evidence that they engaged in misconduct. But that's not an item for us to discuss here. That's not how it works. That's not how the process works. I think we should follow the process. And I think agenda items should be posted. All members of the community should know that that item is going to be discussed, absent the need to repair something like a dam or something like that, which is why those emergency provisions were put in there. I'm sorry, this, to me, doesn't rise to that level. That doesn't mean I don't think the police department is under a great deal of stress. Frankly, I think the police department has been under a great deal of stress for quite some time. Did the events of last week certainly heighten that? Absolutely. Does that justify us throwing out our procedures of notifying the public when we're going to discuss something on the agenda and take action? I'm sorry, it just doesn't rise to that. And I'm sorry that you chose to do it this way. Thank you.
Dr. Gordon?
Thank you for your comments, Councilmember Golonsky, but you're always sorry when I do something any particular way. And I will go on to say that I do think it is an urgent matter. And I do think that those officers who have been placed on administrative leave are not necessarily, and I hope you didn't mean to imply this, if they're on administrative leave is because it was due to some wrongdoing. It doesn't require wrongdoing to be placed on administrative leave. And I hope that wasn't your intention by that remark, number one. And number two, it's a process to set things straight so we can have issues resolved. And I certainly hope that we can get more openness in this whole process. That's it.
Ms. Ranke?
So, Dr. Gordon, what exactly is the criteria to put someone on administrative leave on an emergency basis? I'm waiting for an answer still.
Go ahead, Dr. Gordon.
And don't just say the general health and safety and welfare of the community. That is not an answer.
That's my house. That's my house.
I'm going to have people removed if they're speaking out. Everyone will be allowed 5 minutes to speak if they would like to at this meeting.
I'm not safe. That's my house. That was in front of my house. I'm not safe. That's why it's an emergency.
Mr. Barlow, could I have that person removed? I've given him a warning. We have the sergeant.
Am I the next one to die? Ross Gunnell, Gunnell. Am I the next to die?
I'm so sorry and I apologize. We have a process here. Like I said, everyone here is allowed their time to speak before council. You could come back at the end of the meeting to speak. We have to be able to conduct a meeting properly, and I apologize. No, I don't apologize to the gentleman, but he was warned, so please, everyone, if you just follow the process, I'd appreciate it. Dr. Gordon, if you could finish, please.
I'd like to remind the Vice Mayor that not too long ago, citizens of the city were able to take bows and arrows up into the hillside not far from this area.
Can we close the door, possibly? Go ahead, Dr. Gordon.
I remind the Vice Mayor that not too long ago, I believe you may have been sitting on the council, that we had an individual in the city who could legally go and shoot bows and arrow and hunt small game up in our hillside, very close to the area where this particular incident took place, with the tragic loss of Sergeant Gunn. And the city council passed an ordinance due to the safety of the neighboring residences from accidentally overshot arrows that might go into their property. A practice for 50 or more years of citizens legally practicing with bows and arrows in the hillside. I would suggest that a high-powered pistol is much deadlier and more dangerous than a bow and an arrow. I'd also suggest that we have, I don't know the number, but a substantial number of police officers in our city, dedicated officers who have been traumatized under a great deal of stress, and they all carry weapons. And until this matter comes to ease, I think it's appropriate as a safety measure for the community as a whole to defuse it. And I don't think it would be detrimental. I don't think it would be harmful. And I certainly don't think it's overstepping our responsibilities legally to suggest that the individual that unfortunately finds himself in a position of a center of controversy be placed on administrative leave until the matter is resolved. Thank you.
Mrs. Renke.
I'm not clear that Chief Steer is in the center of the controversy. That's what I'm saying. What is your information that he is? I'm not getting it. Was the bow and arrow incident put on the emergency agenda at the city council? Were you here? I wasn't here. So if it was, well, then I guess you've given me an example. I'm just finding a hard time making the relationship between this. I understand there's a lot of heartbreak. I understand there's a lot of very upset people. I understand that gentleman is extremely upset that this happened in front of his house. But we still have a process to go through. That's my complaint. If we can put some connection to do this without any facts, fine. But I'm not seeing it. And that's all I'm asking you for. Give me the courtesy of telling me that. Otherwise, we'll have a further discussion when the public can come and weigh in. And that's all I'm saying. We have to observe the process. That's all I'm saying. I want to do this correctly. I don't want to shoot from the hip because that is just not appropriate under the circumstance.
And just one final comment.